Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear viewers and students. Today I'm going to discuss a specimen paper from 2023 of Cambridge IGCSE Biology, paper 2. And do subscribe. Hopefully you will be getting more beneficial videos. Okay, so let us start from question number 1. The diagram shows a plant. Which characteristic of living organisms is shown by the plant in the diagram? Okay, so as you can see in the diagram that the plant is tilted towards the light. So light is the stimulant for the plant to move towards it. Okay, so this is sensitivity, right? Plant senses the stimulant and it responds, right? So it can not be excretion, because excretion is just expelling out of waste, and reproduction is the property or characteristic of living organism. When a living organism produces offspring, right? Respiration is a biochemical process in which energy is produced. Moving on to question number 2. Lichens are formed from two different organisms living together. So organism X and organism Y are found in most lichens. Okay, so the table shows some of the characteristics of organism X and organism Y. So look at the description of X: made of strands called hyphae, and hyphae have cell walls and many nuclei. So the description clearly indicates that it is talking about fungus, not protoctist. Okay, so our answer will either be from A or B. Okay. Now, why single cell? Single cell may be prokaryote or protoctist, but when we read this description, cell contains a nucleus and chloroplast. So this is the property of protoctist, right? So it means your answer is B. Question number 3. Which part of a plant cell controls the movement of substances into and out of the cell? And so obviously a cell membrane, because cell membrane is a semi-permeable membrane which allows needful substances to go into the cell and waste out of the cell, right? And cell wall protects the cell, and cytoplasm is a translucent fluid inside the cell, and vacuole is basically which stores water. Question number 4. The diagram shows the structure of a plant cell. What is a function of this specialized plant cell? So here is the diagram of a root hair cell. Okay, so this is a root hair which provides the largest surface area for better absorption of water and ions of minerals, right? So if you go through the options, so it looks like the correct answer: it absorbs ions from the soil. Y, A, C and D are incorrect. It absorbs carbon dioxide from the air. A is incorrect because this happens in leaves. Through stomata, carbon dioxide is absorbed from the air. All right, so it transports sucrose from the leaves because this is the function of phloem in vascular bundle. Okay, so it transports water in stems. It is the function of xylem vessels, right? So moving on to the next question: how do carbon dioxide and oxygen move into and out of mesophyll cell? All right. So as you know that gases, they just spread or they move their particles, they move from the higher concentration to the lower concentration regions. Okay, so this looks like diffusion, because carbon dioxide particles, they move from air into the leaf. Okay, and oxygen, basically when it is produced during the process of photosynthesis, it goes out through stomata into the air. Whereas active transport is just the movement of particles from lower concentration to higher concentration against the concentration gradient. Whereas in osmosis, a semi-permeable membrane is required, and transpiration is just the loss of excess water from the plant. Question number 6. 4 freshly cut potato cylinders were soaked for 1 hour in different salt solutions. The potato cylinders were then pinned to cork blocks. 2 of the potato cylinders are shown. One is turgid and the second is flaccid, which is in fact floppy. Which solution would cause the potato cylinder to be the most flaccid? So as you know that flaccid means floppy. So when the cells are in salt solutions, so the more concentrated the solution, or you can say that less potential of water in this solution, so water moves out from the cell and cell becomes flaccid. So it means the concentration of the salt solution should be the highest, and D is the option where 1 mole per decimeter cube is the highest concentration of the solution given. Okay, moving on to next question, question number 7. The data show the concentrations of sugar and starch in an onion. Total sugar including reducing sugar 3.7 gram per 100 gram of onion, and starch is 0 as starch is absent. So the onion is tested with Benedict's solution and iodine solution, right? So which set of result is correct? We can see that Benedict's solution, it is blue in color in the starting, and we are looking for the resultant color. Okay, so resultant color, it turns brick red if reducing sugar is present. So it means your answer will either be from C or D. Okay, A and B are not your answers. Iodine test is done for the presence of starch. Okay, so if a starch is present, so iodine solution turns blue black from its original color, or if it is not present, so it remains brown. Okay, so as the starch is not present, so it will be brown. So answer is D. Okay, moving on, next question. Which statement about the structure of DNA is correct? Base A always pairs with base C. That does not occur. Base A always pairs with base D. Yes, this is the correct answer. Okay, DNA is made of proteins. Not all the DNA is made of, or all the part of DNA is made of proteins. And DNA forms a single helix? No, it forms a double helix. So answer is B. Moving on to the next question. The diagrams show a protease enzyme catalyzing the breaking of part of protein molecule into smaller pieces. Which diagram has 3 correct labels? So you can see that it is substrate. Yes, it is substrate, right? And this is enzyme which has active site for receiving or for binding substrate particle, right? So this is enzyme correct, but this is not the product. These are the products which are coming out of the enzyme. So As far as option B is concerned, so it is not product, so move on to the next option, C. It is substrate. Yes, it is substrate, and it is enzyme, as I told you in option A. It is enzyme, and these are active sites for receiving or for binding substrate particles. Okay, so the option is C. All right, so moving on, next question. A student wrote some notes about enzymes. She wrote the dash 1. So the dash of an enzyme is dash to an area on the substrate, and this area on the substrate can fit into it to form a dash complex. Which words correctly complete gaps 1, 2, and 3, right? So basically nothing to do about with shapes, so C and D cannot be our correct options. So active sites, so either A or B would be our final option to be selected. So the active site of an enzyme is similar. Now, is it complementary? Okay, so complementary to an or just it welcomes, you can say active site welcomes the substrate molecule. Okay, so it is complementary, and obviously the enzyme substrate complex would be formed. So our option is A, right? Moving on to the next question. The apparatus shown was used in an experiment. The carbon dioxide content of the water in each test tube was measured at the start of the experiment and again 3 hours later. Okay, so in which test tube will carbon dioxide concentration decrease? So look at the 4 options. Number 1 and A and B, you can see that black polythene to keep out light, so the process of photosynthesis can never occur in these 2. So what plant cannot photosynthesize? So carbon dioxide inside the plant will not go into the plant, right, from the aquatic water, right? And other thing is that aquatic animal will be releasing carbon dioxide during respiration. So carbon dioxide level will increase over here, and here carbon dioxide level will remain constant because carbon dioxide is not going into the plant for photosynthesis because this plant is not able to photosynthesize. Okay, and C, you can see that light is going into, so light is the essential condition for the process of photosynthesis. So this aquatic plant is photosynthesizing, and carbon dioxide level from the water will decrease as carbon dioxide is being absorbed by the plant, right? So C must be our correct option, whereas carbon dioxide level is increasing because this aquatic animal is releasing carbon dioxide during respiration. So only C option where the level of carbon dioxide is decreasing. Question number 12. The diagram shows a cross section of a part of a leaf. Okay, this label is X. What is the name of the cell labeled X? As we know that this is the upper epidermis, and from here to they are mesophyll cell, and these rectangular cells which are in order are called palisade mesophyll, whereas these are spongy mesophyll with intercellular spaces, and this is the stomata, which is protected by guard cells, right, or controlled by guard cells. So palisade mesophyll is our answer, which is labeled as X in the diagram. Question number 13. Why do plants need nitrate ions? Nitrate ions basically contains nitrogen element. So nitrogen is the component of amino acid. In amino acid, nitrogen is present. So it should be our correct answer, because nitrogen is a component of fatty acid. No fatty acid contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen only. And nitrogen is a component of glucose. Glucose also contains these three elements only, no nitrogen. And starch is basically carbohydrate. So carbohydrate also contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, whereas nitrogen is a component of amino acid, and amino acid contains carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, as well as nitrogen. Okay, so in which part of the body of a mammal does physical digestion occur? So physical digestion occurs in mouth cavity, in which the food is breaking down into smaller pieces physically. Question number 15, the diagram shows part of human digestive system where is protein digested by trypsin. So trypsin is an enzyme present in a small intestine. Okay, small intestine. So look at the options. Which option is indicating the small intestine? B is gallbladder, and C is indicating the stomach, and D is indicating the pancreas, and A is basically, this is the small intestine, which is beginning from the end of the stomach. So A is the correct option. The photomicrograph shows a cross section through the root of a buttercup plant. Okay, Z. So what is the function of the tissue label Z? So Z, as you learn, that this is vascular bundle, and these are xylem vessels or xylem cells. All right, so xylem cells, they are responsible for transport of water. So our correct option is D. Right, photosynthesis is done in leaf tissues of leaf, in palisade mesophyll and spongy mesophyll. Respiration takes place in mitochondria, and transport of sugars, the phloem are responsible for transport of sugars in plant. Coming to question number 17, roots and leaves both act as sources and sinks for sucrose and amino acids at different times during the year. Okay, at which point in the year are the roots most active as a source? So we should know basically when new leaves start to grow, it is the requirement for root to be active is most likely to happen. Right, so our answer should be A. But if you look into other options, why they are incorrect? Because winter, no leaves means no requirement, right? Leaves are mature. So when leaves are mature, they do not need water for photosynthesizing, most likely. Autumn or fall, leaves die, and so no leaves, no requirement. All right, so this is how the correct answer is A. Right, so moving on, question number 18, the diagram shows a section through a human heart. Which blood vessel is the pulmonary vein? So pulmonary vein, you can say that it brings the oxygenated blood from the lungs, all right, and the blood enters into the right atrium. So D is indicating the vein which brings the blood into the right atrium. So D is our answer, whereas C is aorta, which supplies the oxygenated blood to the all parts of the body, whereas these are A is the veins, vena cava, and B is pulmonary artery. All right. Question number 19, what happens to the heart valves when the ventricles contract? So when ventricle contracts, so you know that atrioventricle valves, the diagram fortunately is above in question number 18, so we can understand this question very easily. This is atrioventricle valve, right? So when ventricle contracts, so it should be closed so as blood should not go back, right? So it will, atrioventricle valve should be closed. So our answer will either be from A or B, not C and D, right? Now coming to semilunar valve. So this is semilunar valve. It should open so as blood would be supplied to the all parts of the body, because blood circulation is in this manner, right, inside the heart. So semilunar valve should open and atrioventricle valves should close. So our answer is B, right? Coming to question number 20, what are the approximate percentages of oxygen and carbon dioxide in inspired air? So if you look at the percentage of carbon dioxide, it is not natural. It is not natural because air, in pure air, it contains only 0.04% carbon dioxide. So in inspired air, carbon cannot be more than that. So this is the only correct answer regarding carbon dioxide. So answer should be C. All right, so this is how we have completed 20 questions. Half of the paper has done. So in part 2, inshallah, we'll be doing next 20 questions. So till then, Allah Hafiz.